He uses that right hand better than any southpaw ever. Look at that.
Brandon laughed off the onslaught early on, but after 12 rounds of punishment, he realized he messed with the wrong guy.
Pacquiao is enjoying looking at Rios' swollen, bloodied face. Pacquiao!
To this day, Brandon regrets his use of language and has nothing but respect for the Filipino slugger.
You can't hate the guy. You can't hate on the guy. He's done a lot of great things. And, you know, I go back and look at the 24/7. I look at all the shit I was saying. I shouldn't be saying that shit. You know, I fought one relation.
While Pacquiao has always been known by the nickname Pac-Man, from the years 2003 to 2005, another name was being thrown about by fans and pundits, the Mexicutioner. He was undefeated against the first three Mexicans he fought, Lucero, Barrera, and Marquez. But the legendary warrior, Erik Morales, put an end to the new nickname by dishing the Filipino his first defeat in 6 years, and what would go on to be his only defeat in a 13-year period.
And what these two guys are showing, this is boxing at its best.
The fight was close, but the right man got the decision. Manny, as all great fighters do, wasted no time in rematching Morales and went on to score 2 decisive knockdown victories in their next 2 meetings. When they met the third time in November 2006, Pacquiao was clearly entering his fightful prime years and blitzed through the Mexican, scoring 3 knockdowns and a 3-round annihilation job.
15 seconds, down goes Morales again. And the look on Erik Morales' face looks like he doesn't want any more. That's it. Manny Pacquiao has just put himself in the class of best pound for pound in the world.
On January 24th, 2009, one of the most controversial fights in boxing history took place between Antonio Margarito and Shane Mosley.
That an illegal pad was found in Margarito's gloves.
Moments before the fight began, Mosley's team noticed something unusual with Margarito's hand wraps. Upon inspection, according to trainer Nazim Richardson, a block of cement literally fell out from the wraps.
The commissioner flipped it open and a block fell out of it.
The fight went ahead anyway, and Mosley went on to put a hellacious beatdown on the Mexican. The controversy surrounding this fight brought up even more questions about Margarito's previous bouts. How long had this been going on for? And did Margarito know what was really going on? Well, the former champ has never taken any responsibility for what he said was his trainer's intention. However, Manny's take on the matter during an HBO 24/7 episode had fans at home laughing out loud as he went on to express the same feelings as 99% of everyone else that was informed.
In my opinion, did he know? 100% yes. You would definitely know.
Of course, you know, what do you think of us? Stupid? You're gonna like, oh, coach, put my handcuff in my hands. I'm gonna close my eyes. Oh, like that, no, right? It's a common sense.
Manny also did more than destroy Margarito verbally, but more on that later. Fans of Manny will be surprised to see his recent bout with Jeff Horn made the list. But upon review, even without his arms being raised at the end, it has to be said it was a spectacular fight to watch, and both men had individual standout moments.
The expectation was that Manny Pacquiao was going to destroy Jeff Horn.
In particular, round 9 was a flashback to a prime Pac-Man. If these before and after screenshots don't say enough, During Pacquiao's illustrious career, we saw a 106-pound strawweight gradually move up 12 divisions and become a champion at 9 different weights.
He's earned it the hard way from 122 pounds up to 140 pounds. He hasn't ducked anybody.
While a modern-day record on its own, what many people don't know is what would appear to be his optimal weight.
Is he number 1 pound for pound? He'll try to make a statement here.
Due to Pac-Man being such an incredible WBC champion in the lower weight classes, when he decided to move to 135 pounds on June 28, 2008, the World Boxing Council instantly granted him a title shot against the Eric Morales conqueror, David Diaz.
Third for good measure. Pacquiao again with that right hook, right uppercut combination. Tremendous work with the right hand by Pacquiao.
If you wonder why I suggested this might have been his optimal weight class, just check out his one and only performance at 135. The combination of Diaz's bravery and Pacquiao's sublime skills resulted in an extremely one-sided fight and knockout.
How many more? Down he goes, and Pacquiao stops the fight. Should have never got to that.
Diaz's interview after the fight has some pretty memorable moments just on its own.
Basically, the story of the fight.
Yeah, he was too fast. Fucker was too fast.
Yo, I let cruise with a conglomerate. Choose we rock astonishing. Kiss the ring, bow down and honor it.
As you'll see throughout the video, Pacquiao is a dangerous SOB inside the ring. But whenever he's spotted away from the sport, he seems to be nothing but smiles. In particular, his pranks have gone viral from time to time, most of which are aimed at his gym mates. Here are a few that I couldn't help but laugh at. Unlike the stars of the Western world, Pacquiao didn't have an easy ride during the start of his career. A man that weighed little more than a supermodel was matched pretty fiercely before he became a star in the States.
Campo has carried the fight to Pacquiao. Oh! It's over.
He was knocked out by Rustico Torrecampo and Singh-Surat 3K Battery, respectively. So when he had his first world title shot against the 32-1 Chachai Sasakul in 1998, he had to overcome the odds and elevate his performance like never before.
Looks like he's starting to buff a little bit, and down he goes, where there was a cracking body shot in amongst the barrage of blows.
It was a difficult fight for Manny, but with a knockout in the 8th round, he grabbed the first of what would become many championships down the line. Sticking to the theme of a young Manny, on June 23, 2001, the Filipino caught arguably the biggest break of his career.
Hands of stone, Ledwaba.
The South African super bantamweight Lelo Ledwaba was en route to make his 7th world title defense of his IBF strap against the Mexican southpaw Enrique Sanchez. But a late injury in camp left Sanchez with no option but to withdraw from the fight and left Ledwaba opponentless. HBO only had 2 weeks to find a new opponent, and to be honest, no respected champion or contender would take a fight on that short notice unless they were really desperate. Manny, who had never fought outside of Asia at this point, was surprised when the phone rang and gave him an opportunity to fight in America for a world title.
Absolutely. I think this guy just hit so hard that Ledwaba is totally on the defensive. And he is banging Ledwaba right now. That's a TKO victory for the very impressive Manny Pacquiao.
One of Pacquiao's greatest wins, and you could really see how much this meant to him.
And I've won all my fights by knockout.
A risk for Pac-Man, no doubt, but with risk comes reward. Not only would a victory sway public opinion, but also earn a WBA welterweight title, which in turn would open up many more lucrative fights in the future.
against one of the biggest names to ever be in the sport.
Pacquiao, to the surprise of many, rolled back the years and beat Lucas comfortably inside 7 rounds. His first knockout victory in almost 10 years, and a huge leap back on the road to redemption.
You were going to be the hunter, but today you dictated the pace from the first round.
By far, Pacquiao's most feared rival in his career to date was the former 6-weight world champion and elite pound-for-pound superstar Juan Manuel Marquez. The two battled out 4 historic fights over an 8-year period, with all 4 being just about as exciting as any sporting event could be. The fights were so close, people still argue about the winners of the first 3 to this day. Unfortunately for Manny, the 4th fight was settled in brutal fashion, which is largely, if not completely, what the fight is remembered for today. Upon review, however, an argument can be made that the most exciting round of Manny's entire career took place just 3 or so minutes before he was knocked out. Check out round 5 of Marquez versus Pacquiao 4.
And Pacquiao's giving him some face. And walking right there. That's how Pacquiao caught him. Oh! Huge right hand by Marquez. Pacquiao was able to stand up. His job is to get out of the round. Oh, Marquez being for a challenge. Marquez hurt bad. Right, Marquez hurt bad. Marquez hurt bad. Pacquiao attacked. He may think he has it. Marquez hurt bad. Still wobbling. None of that means anything now. Marquez is no sparring partner. Pacquiao has great talent.
As great as the round was from our number 15 pick, we had to put round 1 from their first ever encounter at least 1 slot above.
Marquez comes out in a more offensive stance than he usually does.
On May 8, 2004, the 2 pound-for-pound titans collided for the first time in what many felt would be an epic back-and-forth clash. Marquez started well, but out of nowhere, Manny put the Mexican down and continued to go on an absolute onslaught until the bell sounded to end the first. The 3 knockdowns in the first round were the only ones of the fight. To give Marquez credit, he bounced back, racking up a fair share of rounds himself before the final bell. The fight was scored a draw, but should have been given to Manny due to the third judge, Burt Clemens, mistakenly scoring round 1 at 10-7 instead of a 10-6, which would have resulted in a Manny victory. A tough one to take, but at least it led to 3 more classic encounters. In the Western world, Manny will be remembered as nothing short of a boxing legend by all fans in the know. But over in the Philippines, he's leaving a legacy beyond sport.
One question that occurs to me again and again is, can I be a good congressman?
I'm Honorable Manuel D. Pacquiao from Lone District of Sarangani Province.
And my resounding answer is yes.
On May 17, 2016, Pacquiao received 16 million votes to land him among the 12 new members of the Senate. As a politician, Manny believes he can make a huge difference to the overall state of life for the people of the Philippines, and quickly began projects building new schools and hospitals in poverty-stricken areas. Ryan Songalia, a New York-based Filipino journalist, said in an interview last year, Pacquiao's level of popularity among the common folk is equivalent to Justin Bieber, Michael Jordan, and Elvis combined in the States. And I don't think anything will change for a while, with strong rumors he has ambitions to be president within the next 10 years. We couldn't make a Pacquiao video without mentioning his big upcoming fight with Keith Thurman this week. It's unquestionably his biggest test since the Mayweather fight in 2015, and whether he wins or loses, massive credit has to be given to the Filipino slugger for just taking the challenge at this point in his career.
I hope my words motivate him to fight a harder fight, because for me, it's just going to make it an easier night.
Here is a quick rundown of the stats and a brief look at how their performance cards look at this period of time. May the best man win.
Drink up parking, do it like Jordan, run up and spark him. My G's been on badness, way before they had a mustache like Starling. And his things will love him.
On June 8, 2012, boxing fans were sick to their stomach as a very fortunate Tim Bradley had his arms raised at the end of a bout the entire world could clearly see he lost.
Pacquiao won at least 10 rounds. It was clearly lopsided.
Prominent sports writers for websites such as Bleacher Report, The Sabotage Times, and ESPN all ranked the fight in the top 5 worst robberies in the entire 120-year history of the modern sport. It truly was a disaster and had to be settled in a rematch sooner rather than later.
What I need to prove, I already proved that, I can easily win.
On April 12, 2014, the stage was set at the MGM in Las Vegas. Bradley, despite winning the first fight, had actually become vilified by the boxing media for matters that were out of his own control. He tried to respond to the critics in a big way by coming out fast and looking for the knockout. However, his newfound style played straight into the Filipinos' hands as he was very soundly beaten over the 12 rounds. Vindication for Pac-Man and a great performance to settle the score once and for all. A boxing highlight reel wouldn't be complete without an infamous trash talker beatdown.
Floyd just fucking fought 60 seconds and got 9 million, and I'm trying to fight Tom Brady after I beat Pacquiao, so I don't want y'all to have nothing to say about this shit.
On January 19th, 2019, Pac-Man faced the brash, big-talking contender Adrian Broner in a pay-per-view bout on Showtime Sports.
No disrespect, but he ain't fighting Floyd.
Absolutely. Let me ask you
He
this.
fighting me.
But do you think...
I'll beat your motherfucking ass, man. You worry about Floyd.
AB, also known as The Problem, was up to his usual pre-fight antics during the build-up. He claimed that Manny was too old, overrated, and unprepared, all of which turned out to be false, as Pac-Man beat him easily without really breaking a sweat. Normally, fights like this end with a cocky fighter being humbled, but this day, Broner insists he won the fight, and apparently everyone in the hood shares his frustration.
I want to thank the whole hood who came out here. I love y'all. I did this for the hood. Y'all know I beat that boy.
When it comes to the pre-fight documentaries on HBO, Floyd Mayweather has always been the star of the show. It's all about the lifestyle and behind-the-scenes access, little about the actual fight and opponent he's trying to beat. Manny, on the other hand, has consistently given exclusive insight as to how he trains, spars, eats, and even poops during a build-up.
Incredible.
One of my personal favorite clips from the show was when he reacted to his upcoming opponent's secret tactics to win the fight.
So in the last 24/7, we saw Juan Manuel Marquez training. He was drinking his own urine.
He drinks his own urine.
Do you do that?
No, I'm not gonna do that. That's why he wants a rematch, because it's just a mistake. He just drink his urine, but he forgot to eat his.
To add what? Look at this guy. Yeah.
You have to eat his and then
Training secrets with Manny Pacquiao.
There's a long and interesting history of legendary boxers retiring former legends of the ring. What's also referred to as a change of the guard has happened hundreds of times over the years.
The end of the fight. Honey, the winner by unanimous decision.
Gene Tunney retired Jack Dempsey, as Marciano did Joe Louis, as Fury did Vladimir Klitschko. The old makes way for the new, and Pacquiao had his chance to take over for one of the most successful and popular fighters of recent generations in Oscar De La Hoya on December 6, 2008.
Dangerous and destructive. Largely a one-note tune. Jab, jab, straight left hand. His ability to fashion the lead left hand, starting his offense with it, as he's doing there, shows how much he's progressed as a tactician. One thing that Jimmy was very obvious.
What was nicknamed the Dream Match actually turned out to be a mismatch. Pacquiao completely dominated the former champ. Round after round, the Golden Boy was beaten black and blue. Thankfully, for Oscar's sake at least, his corner eventually threw in the towel and awarded Manny the title of the People's Champ. Obviously not Manny's most treasured memory from the ring, but a historic night that changed boxing forever nevertheless.
This feels like the atmosphere of those great fights in the 80s. Crowd is ready.
A big roar greets the opening bell.
When Pacquiao fought Floyd Mayweather on May 2nd, 2015, the boxing world, scrap that, the entire world, were left deflated and unsatisfied with what was being built up as the fight of the century.
Was this worth the wait?
When the history books is written, it was worth the wait.
It certainly wasn't the worst fight I've ever seen, but admittedly, I knew it wasn't going to help the sport grow as, say, Ali versus Frazier did. Either way, the fight makes the list, based on the purses generated alone. Mayweather took home a whopping $180 million before endorsements, while Manny bagged a respectable $120 million himself. Not a bad night's work, if I say so myself. Pac-Man, as seen in this video, has had many great moments throughout his amazing career, but in 50 to 100 years' time, I can guarantee that the years from 2005 to 2010 will be the ones that fans refer back to as a close to unbeatable version of the fighter.
Well, I've already accorded him the greatest Asian fighter ever, the greatest left-handed fighter ever.
On November 14th, 2009, the Puerto Rican legend Miguel Cotto took to the ring for his 35th time without ever losing a fight legitimately. At this point, Pacquiao was a star in his own right and dominated the terms of the bout, which admittedly played in his own favor. Regardless of that, the performance alone silenced critics as he went on to destroy the normally Iron Chin warrior inside the distance.
Body shot. Oh, magnificent left to the body.
Fans are going to get 12 rounds of action out of 10 rounds tonight.
Now they're going to get 15 rounds. Oh, look at that. Look at that combination. Oh, my gosh.
The full array of Pac-Man's skill set was on display that night. An excellent performance, and one myself, among many others, will never forget.
Now Kenny Bayless does his thing.
You want to see my greatest? Best believe I pay-per-view. Best believe I pay-per-view. Boy, good shit.
What a body shot.
While Pacquiao has scored some brutal knockouts early in his career, the tail end of it saw mostly only decisions go his way.
You hit like a bitch. He could knock a guy out that was straightforward coming straight at him.
Quite a surprising tale, considering every man who's ever shared a ring with him claims his power to be freaky in nature.
Straight, and his punches are like solid, you know, they're not snappy, they're just like, feel like bricks coming at you. Boom!
Oh my goodness!
One fighter who will never forget the brutish force is the British welterweight contender, Ricky Hatton.
You hurt me with every punch, to be honest, even the arm punches, they were solid.
On May 2nd, 2009, the stage was set for two of the best welterweights in the world to battle it out for the IBO World title. Hatton, a tough warrior himself, was very mindful of Manny's skill set, particularly his power, before the bout. However, his mindful attitude turned to fear for the opening bell, as he was well and truly beaten to a pulp.
They like each other. Follows the jab with a hook, comes back with another jab. There's the straight left hand, and he landed it right on Hatton's chin. And down goes Hatton after he swings and misses with a left hook.
It was only a matter of time before Pacquiao would find a shot to end the fight, but no one expected it to be as soon and as brutal as it was.
Can he beat the count? Is that it? No way. What an amazing knockout shot.
The greatest punch of Pacquiao's career and one of the greatest knockouts in boxing history. It's never going to be easy to narrow down a list like this to one particular moment. Manny has done a lot to admire. However, one particular fight deserves a special mention due to the satisfaction that it gave to boxing fans around the world.
He's missing the election, all that, but you know what? To me, I think he's scared, and Freddie Roach is scared because he's not going to be the superstar no more. He's just going to be maybe a super, but the stars coming up is going to be Margarito.
On November 13th, 2010, Pacquiao faced off with who can only be described as the villain of boxing, Antonio Margarito.
Enfrente de mí. Le va a doler como si trajera yeso, pero no hay nada de ventaja.
As mentioned earlier, Margarito has been involved in multiple scandals over the years, and despite serving multiple bans for different instances, his attitude towards each scandal is what angers the fans. On top of that, he is good. Very good. One of boxing's toughest warriors, to be more precise. A man that can take just as much as he gives. And on most occasions, that's a heck of a lot.
Went from an exhibition of skill
to an exhibition of will. Antonio Margarito has said that Manny Pacquiao better be ready for war.
At close to 6 foot, Margarito towered over Manny in the ring. But again, that just became another factor in the satisfaction of the victory.
And he turns it around and bangs Margarito viciously. Left cross straight on the bad eye. And another one. Right on that badly bruised right eye of Margarito. Pacquiao hits him again with the left. Margarito nods at him. Pacquiao hits him at will. But speed belongs to Pacquiao. Good left hook inside by, or left cross inside by Pacquiao. He lands the right hook too as Margarito steps in.
There were moments where Manny had to dig deep to keep the big man from getting too close. But other than that, the performance overall was sensational. Uppercuts, jabs, hooks, leaps, and ducks, each timed to perfection.
Against the ropes. Margarito tries to press the action. Pacquiao hits him flush with a big left hand. And then flurries and backs Margarito off again. We're done. Pacquiao has his unanimous decision victory. Margarito has a vicious beatdown to remember and the satisfaction of having finished the fight.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's countdown, be sure to smash that like button. And as always, new viewers are welcome to join the BLTV community by subscribing down below. Until next time, fight fans, this is Boxing Legends TV, signing off.
What a body shot! Oh, magnificent left to the body.
Heckman! With internet celebrities like Jake Paul and KSI reeling in younger viewers, and legends like Tyson and Jones bringing back some of those old heads, there hasn't been this many eyes focused on the sport since its heyday during the mid-70s.
And score. And then he nailed it right to you.
No, it's beautiful boxing. I love boxing.
Celebs and legends aside, the sport overall is in a talent-rich era, with prospects, contenders, and champions all striving to become this generation's superstar. Which leads us to today's video. Our personal pick for the top 10 pound-for-pound fighters in the world. It's been a while since we've made one of these, but rest assured, there hasn't been a significant punch landed in the last few years that will not be taken into account today.
Kovalev's not even committed to the...
Here it is. Kovalev's hurt. Kovalev's down. Kovalev's out. It's over.
Admittedly, our list is in contrast to many other prominent sports writers this year. However, clarification will be given for each placement as the video progresses. Without any further ado, let's jump straight to number 10. Pound for pound, one of the hardest punchers in world boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis isn't a name quite yet associated with the sport's current upper echelon, but that's not due to a lack of effort or risks taken by the 26-year-old Baltimore bruiser.
This young man right here, natural-born superstar. But the ultimate goal is to get him to surpass me.
Gervonta made it 5 out of 5 for world title defenses, ending in a knockout after ironing out the top contender, Leo Santa Cruz, at the tail end of October. The sturdiest test of his career so far, and he came through with flying colors, making Cruz miss for multiple rounds before landing an uppercut raised from hell in the 5th. With the Gamboa fight from last year aside, Gervonta makes the list more for his display of dominance over top contenders since becoming a champion in 2017. He is a fighter who not only carries severe punching power in both hands, but has ring credit and fighting intelligence to create problems for his opponents and leave them guessing when and where the next power punch is coming from. With no disrespect meant for Santa Cruz because he is a top fighter, you still have to put an asterisk next to Gervonta's performance card due to the slightly lacking resume. Still, as you can see, so far it's a well-balanced card with his power attribute being the standout stat. I think it's fair to say, as bright of a prospect as Errol Spence Jr. looked in 2014, the boxing world started taking more notice of the young Texan once Floyd Mayweather openly described the trouble he gave him in sparring leading up to Money May's Andre Berto fight.
Yeah, I told you the guy was pushing me. He was giving me that good work. I said, no, this is what I need. You know, at first I came in, kind of caught me off guard. I said, okay, I see. So he made me, in training camp, he made me tighten my game up.
Rare praise from the self-proclaimed greatest of all time. Yet, ever since, Errol has gone from strength to strength, dispatching the world's top welterweights in championship fights while remaining undefeated.
He's very game right now, but he's hurt. Oh, and he goes out. He is out.
Keep them as up me.
This well, keep them up, then.
Keep them up me.
I got him out there easy. Chris Algieri got him out there easy.
He has a wounded prey and he knows it.
Revered today for his limitless stamina and energy-sapping body shots, Spence likes to take his time to dispatch his prey, with a good example being his victory over Kell Brook in 2017, where he systematically broke down Special K with brutal body blows to make the championship rounds a near-on impossible task for his opponent.
Errol Spence really is a quality operator, and he'll go on for me, I think, and dominate this division.
In more recent times, Spence has performed at a true pound-for-pound level in victories over Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter, using calculated tactics to defeat top-grade opposition in the welterweight division.
1 minute remaining and Spence said that's what he wanted to do.
This video was put together before Spence's upcoming showdown with Danny Garcia, another top fight, but a bout that wouldn't have changed my ranking for him either way, assuming that he wins. Spence was involved in a severe car crash at the end of last year, which put his career in jeopardy, but he's since made a full recovery. However, the severity of the incident worries me that he might not return to the ring as the unstoppable force he once was. Only time will tell. Due to Spence's natural size, he's a fraction slower than other top welterweights, yet he makes up for it with his additional top-tier all-around attributes. I wouldn't have much argument against Spence being a spot or two higher on the list, and I think it goes without saying a victory over the likes of Crawford or Charlo would rank him considerably higher, perhaps even number 1. The takeover has begun. As of 2020, 0 question marks remain around the Brooklyn-born freight train Teofimo Lopez.
Lopez getting right to it. Wow! What a knockdown by Lopez!
I did 12 rounds and a backflip. I'm still in shape.
When a fighter is hyped up early on in their career as much as Teofimo was, doubt usually surfaces among the hardcore community. Can he take a punch? Can he go the distance? Can he do it on a cold, rainy night at Stoke? All reasonable questions. Yet in what has to be one of the first instances I can remember, there was little to no hate or doubt at all, and that's due to the incredible career pathing Top Rank has provided him so far.
Oh, big left hand. I don't think he'll get up from that. That was a huge left hand. This fight's all over.
Barely a year after turning pro in 2016, Teofimo threw himself in the deep end of the lightweight division and started putting beatdowns on the who's who of the top 15.
This fight is over. Teofimo Lopez with a backflip.
Exceptional performances ending with one-punch knockouts became routine through 2018 and 2019, with the latter mentioned here seeing him crowned world champion after defeating the tricky and avoided Richard Comey with staggering ease.
Moments away from having it happen, and there it is. He has done it.
Becoming a world champion only ignited his hunger and determination further. Who's happy with one belt when you have to hold 4 to be the undisputed king of a given division?
Doing what I got to do, take over. No disrespect to Lomachenko and Leonidas, but I'm here to take over the show.
On October 17, 2020, Teofimo decided to skip the usual homecoming or glorification fight, if you will, and jump straight into the deep end to unify the titles against the pound-for-pound veteran, Vasily Lomachenko.
It's winner take all. Let's do this.
My initial doubts as to whether Lopez was ready for such a matchup were erased reasonably quick as he used top-draw tactics to limit Lomachenko offensively, while racking up round after round by sticking ramrod jabs in Loma's face.
He has committed to that from the start. It was a good 11th round from Lomachenko, but a good finish to it from Lopez as he's stalking forward here. We have 1 round to go.
Lomachenko did show his class in the latter stages of the fight, clawing back some of those rounds, but it just resulted in Lopez's victory being that much more praiseworthy as he overcame the onslaught by showing maturity far beyond what the boxing world expected.
And I had to dig in there. And now, it feels good.
Lopez has no notable flaws in his game. He is as quick as they come, strong, defensively savvy, and knows precisely when to pull the trigger. I sense a huge future ahead. However, he needs to keep his head screwed and not allow his ego to consume him.
I'm a lot of things, but I'm not sorry. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a wally. These men are wet like they got no brolly. Pop my collar, but I don't pop pills or swallow.
Little introduction is needed for our number 7 pick, as Anthony Joshua is not only one of boxing's best pugilists on paper, but has acquired millions of fans worldwide, making him one of the sport's most celebrated attractions.
Too sharp and too powerful from Joshua, who's slicing into ribbons here.
Boxing fame doesn't come easy, however, unless you're a YouTuber, of course, as Joshua has built one of the best heavyweight resumes in recent decades, using his sharp all-around skill set to boast over 9 world title fights already during his relatively short-lived career.
What I have to do to beat Wilder? Get him in the ring, and I'm not going to spark out.
A boxer-puncher at heart, who has adapted his skill set accordingly, the days of blasting out fringe contenders have long passed as Joshua now continues to challenge consistent top 10 opposition.
Shaken in the 7th. On a left hand and a right hand. And down goes the Russian.
The loss to Andy Ruiz Jr. last year certainly hindered his career, but with a convincing win in the immediate rematch, I'm not sure the wider boxing press treats him fairly when it comes to the rankings. Am I really the only one that considers him a top fighter? Either way, at 31 years old, there are still a few good years for AJ to build upon his already stellar career.
Anthony Joshua, you know I'm coming for you.
If I was you, Joshua, I'd avoid me, because I will jab your face off. You bomb.
Anthony, I'm coming for you.
Hey, I never said it'd be easy. Joshua is obviously a man that carries a lot of muscle, which appears to be detrimental to his stamina. We've seen him gasping for air on more than one occasion. On the other hand, AJ has fast hands for a heavyweight and is as strong as an ox on the inside, always looking to land his signature uppercut. A pound-for-pound slot for the legendary Filipino slugger Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao is certainly nothing new or out of the ordinary. Pacquiao became the oldest welterweight champion in history with his win over Keith Thurman last year, and joined George Foreman as the only 2 pro boxers to win world titles 20 years apart.
Now I prove it again at age of 40, so Manny Pacquiao's journey still continue.
Since his controversial defeat to Jeff Horn in 2017, Manny appears to be rolling back the years with consecutive prime-like performances over Matisse, Broner, and Thurman respectively. However, with no outing in 2020 and lurking rumors of a Conor McGregor fight being next, this will likely be the last time he features on a current list like this.
There, then moves away. Now his back is against the ropes. Margarito tries to press the action. Pacquiao hits him flush with a big left hand.
Manny's speed, power, and footwork have remained the gold standard in boxing ever since he conquered America in the mid-2000s. It doesn't matter what weight he fights at or what age he fights at. His legendary skill set always finds a way to give his opponents hell.
Bit of a smile from Manny Pacquiao. Oh, down goes Thurman! Thurman knocked down late in round 1.
The fact that this is a 41-year-old's performance card and his glowing attributes are speed and stamina kind of speaks volume for just how well Manny has aged in boxing terms. An experienced guy like Pac-Man has little flaws that he hasn't already rectified. However, his eagerness to trade away, looking for a knockout, often leaves him in danger defensively. But then again, that's why we love him. After the legendary Japanese bantamweight Fighting Harada retired in 1970, the Asian boxing scene as a whole took a dip, and more traditional sports such as wrestling and amateur martial arts became the only competitive entertainment Japanese spectators were interested in watching.
In the days that followed, millions of Japanese seemed totally mesmerized by the American champ. It was as if Godzilla, the movie monster of the 1950s, had returned to Tokyo.
However, during the mid-2000s, with rising champions in Takashi Uchiyama and Hozumi Hasegawa, things started looking up, and young Japanese kids took inspiration in the fighting game once again.
And we were told to expect something special. That was quite a show.
One of those kids is perhaps the most fearsome and dangerous pugilist to ever emerge from the rising sun. He may look like a BTS member, but you don't get the nickname the Monster for no reason.
And he's called the Monster, Andre, because of his knockout power in the 11 knockouts in 13 fights. Now Ortiz is got... Oh, my God! Unbelievable!
After a stellar amateur career, Inoue wasted no time fighting journeymen and became a world champion after merely 6 fights, defeating Adrian Hernandez for the WBC light flyweight title. 6 years and 16 fights later, Inoue has never taken a backward step. progressing through multiple divisions while capturing an array of championship belts. Inoue's crowning moment came at the tail end of 2019 when he faced the fellow Asian star Nonito Donaire in the World Boxing Super Series final. A fight that on paper looked routine for Naoya, yet the action that transpired made the bookmakers look foolish.
That time, Donaire comes back with that famous left hook. Both men exchanging. Walking through them so far. Catches Inoue on the chin. Short left hook. Inoue tried to hang on there.
In what became the Ring Magazine Fight of the Year, both Inoue and Donaire traded blows at a relentless pace for the entire 12 rounds, each man testing their opponent's limit, with Inoue's classy boxing skills and brutish power ultimately being the deciding factor. After signing with Bob Arum in Top Rank in 2019, boxing fans were treated to another monster stateside showcase in October this year against Jason Maloney.
But sometimes big right hand there from Inoue, and Maloney takes it, and he takes 2 steps back.
Inoue thoroughly impressed, landing unmerciful haymakers before scoring a KO in the 7th.
Round 7. Oh, a big right hand from Naoya Inoue, and it is over. Naoya, the monster Inoue, on Halloween night knocks out Jason Mayhem Maloney.
In terms of pure ability, I'd rank Inoue one of, if not the best in the world, and I think that reflects with his 90 rated card overall. The amount of power he can generate in that 120-pound body is shocking. As Inoue strives to conquer more divisions down the line, I think his naturally small frame will struggle to cope in those rough-and-tumble contests. But for now, at bantamweight, nobody can beat him. Upon transitioning to the heavyweight division in 2019, the 200-pound super champ, Alexander Usyk, was indeed the only fighter in boxing today I can honestly remember cleaning out an entire division while leaving no stones unturned.
He's probably now best bar 15.5 stone now, and the hand speed is tremendous.
The run included wins over the now consensus #1 Maris Bradis, the murderous punching Murat Gassiev, topped off with a highlight reel KO of the much-informed Tony Bellew.
And score. And then he nailed the right. Usyk building up, and it's over just like that.
However, after signing with DAZN last year, the quantity and quality of his fights took a notable dip. Of course, adapting to a new division takes time, especially when it's a 30 to 40-pound difference. Yet, as a man pushing the boundaries of his prime years, I honestly expected more than Chaz Witherspoon and Derek Chisora as his first opponents. On a positive note, we did learn a lot about Usyk's capabilities at heavyweight from the Chisora fight.
I am going all out. I'm going guns blazing all out.
As promised by the man himself, Chisora pushed the Ukrainian hard during the opening rounds, throwing his full arsenal of shots with vicious intentions. However, the legendary engine we've seen from Usyk in the past came to fruition once again, taking over the fight entirely by the 7th and continuing his dominance to the final bell.
My boxing, it's real testing heavyweight, Chisora, big guy, hard guy. It's beautiful boxing. I love boxing.
I've been quite reserved with my opinion on Usyk at heavyweight. The number of advantages he yields to the monsters at title level makes the dream of becoming a two-weight undisputed champ seem like an impossible task. Yet, with his movements as sharp as ever, footwork light years ahead of Wilder and Joshua, perhaps there's still a place for the next-gen Eastern European style to mix it up amongst the behemoths. It's worth considering that the card for Usyk here is a heavyweight version, whereas his cruiser card would be rated considerably higher. Either way, I think much of the attributes have correlated nicely so far, with his stamina being the standout stat and the highest in boxing